Chapter 6 of Billie Bradley at Treasure Cove by Janet D. Wheeler. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. At the school. Miss Halcombe did not quote theorems to Billie Bradley. She appeared so genuinely relieved to have the girls back again that she even refrained from scolding them for having wandered too far from the hall. "Miss Halcombe," began Billie, hesitating. Everyone seemed to hesitate when addressing the mathematics teacher. She had a cold, clear gaze capable of transfixing the most innocent supplicant, and causing her to wonder shiveringly what unknown act of transgression the mathematics teacher had found out. "Miss Halcombe," Billie began again, "there is someone else in the bus with us. He, cried the teacher in an outraged tone. "He? Do you mean that you have a boy in there?" The girls wanted to giggle terribly. The effort not to caused them to grow red in the face. "Not a boy," returned Billie, straightening the corners of her mouth. "He's a rather old gentleman. In fact, I'll speak for myself, lass." Terry had assisted the old man to the ground. Now he stood with one hand on the young fellow's broad shoulder, the other outstretched toward the teacher of mathematics. "It's Ben Halcombe, Pauline," he said eagerly. "Don't mean to say you've forgotten your old cousin, Ben, eh?" "Of course I haven't forgotten you, Benjamin," replied Miss Pauline Halcombe. The girls thought her voice sounded thin and cold, like icicles. "But why have you come here?" The old sailor's outstretched hand dropped to his side. A shadow came over his bronzed face. His lips tightened with fatigue and disappointment. Billie found herself speaking impulsively. "He was in the woods, struck down by a falling tree when we found him, Miss Halcombe," she said. "His leg has been hurt quite badly. See, he can hardly stand." A shadow of genuine concern crossed the face of the teacher. Miss Halcombe might be cold and very practical, but she was not hard-hearted. Nevertheless, she rounded upon Billie sharply. "That will be all," she said. "You girls may go inside at once." The dismissal was firm and could not be misunderstood. Still the girls hesitated. Out of the momentary silence, Ben Halcombe spoke. His voice was not as cold as Pauline Halcombe's, but it was just as firm. "These lassies saved my life, Pauline," he said quietly. "Seems like I'd like to shake them by the hand afore they go inside." So the girls, one after another, took his big hard hand in theirs and squeezed it in token of friendship. It was a strangely moving little ceremony, for all it was so simple. As the girls went on toward the hall, they were unusually quiet and thoughtful. "I love him," exclaimed Billie suddenly. "He's an odd darling. I never saw anyone that I liked so much and felt so sorry for at the same time." "Love at first sight," said fluffy-haired Connie Danvers, with a droll look at Billie. "Teddy Jordan had better look to himself." "You haven't yet told us how you found your old man," Rose put in. "Did you really save his life?" "We hope to, I guess," replied Billie ruefully. "We'll tell you all about him as soon as we get a telephone call through to Boxton. We must find out how the boys are." The girls received permission from Miss Walters, the beloved head of Three Towers Hall, to telephone to the academy. "I have been in touch with the school," Miss Walters told the girls. "The buildings were hit 2 or 3 times, but nothing was seriously damaged, and no one was seriously injured. Nothing beyond a scratch or 2. However, if you care to reassure yourselves, phone by all means." With a gracious smile she dismissed them and returned to the papers on her desk. The girls lost little time in availing themselves of her permission. They rang up Boxton Military Academy and asked that either Teddy or Chet be called to the phone. It was Teddy who responded. "Are you all right?" Billie asked. "Are you quite sure you're all right, Teddy?" "Right as a fiddle," Teddy's voice came back cheerfully. "Some of the windows were broken, though, on the side near the explosion. Some fireworks." "It was," said Billie, feelingly, so feelingly that Teddy inquired quickly, "You girls all right?" "Quite," sang out Billie. Some days the boys would have the whole story of that harrowing adventure in the woods, but not just now. "And Chet, Teddy, he is all right, too?" "Right as rain," replied Teddy. Then he chuckled. "Got caught out on the ball field, Chet did," he said. Flying rock landed near the fellows and showered them with dirt. You should have seen Chet. We couldn't find him for dirt." "But he wasn't hurt. You're sure of that, are you?" insisted Billie. Teddy must have been very convincing in his reply, for Billie's face was radiant with relief as she turned from the phone. "Everything is all right," she told the girls. "Teddy got a skinned elbow and Chet a dirt bath. Aside from that, they are undamaged." "And now," sighed Laura, "we can go upstairs and wash ourselves. I dare say we need it." Rose and Connie chuckled heartlessly. "Just wait till you have a look at yourselves in the mirror," Rose said. The girls had nearly reached the dormitory when they were confronted, full-faced, by Amanda Peabody and her shadow, Eliza Dilks. Amanda stared in amazement. Over her face spread a slow, derisive smile. Eliza grinned too, mockingly. "My word!" exclaimed Amanda. "See what the cat dragged in." "Meaning yourself?" asked Laura, with dangerous sweetness. Billie seized her chum by the hand and dragged her toward the dormitory. As the door opened and closed after them, they overheard Amanda's parting sneer. "That's right. Hide yourself," she cried. "I would too if I looked like that." "The horrid old cat!" exclaimed Laura, trembling with fury. "Why did you stop me, Billie? I wanted to scratch her eyes out." Billie Bradley chuckled. "Come over here and take a look at yourself in the glass," she said. "Then, if you're honest, you can't blame Amanda very much for laughing at us. We are funny," and she burst into wild laughter. Laura gave one look at herself and shrieked, "Get out of my way, everybody! I'm going to get a bath." Not until they were bathed and dressed in clean clothes would the three chums satisfy Rose's and Connie's curiosity concerning that harrowing half-hour they had spent in the woods. Then, refreshed and vaguely excited, the heroines of the occasion sat on Billie Bradley's bed and repeated the story of their adventures to an intent audience. The other girls interrupted the recital again and again with questions about every conceivable thing. But when Billie came to the part about the old sailor's gratitude and his promise to reward them with a share of his fortune when he found it, they nearly bounced off the bed. "Why, it reads like a story," cried Rose, passing around her candy box. "Do you suppose the old boy really has a fortune?" "We thought he was crazy at first," Billie replied, with a thoughtful shake of her head. "But now I, for one, am not so sure. What do you think, girls?" Laura hastily swallowed the whole bonbon she had thrown into her mouth, nearly choking herself in the process. "Ben Halcombe may never find any fortune," she said decidedly, "but one thing is sure, he is no more crazy than you or I." "He thinks he has a fortune coming to him," added Vi thoughtfully, "and he seemed pretty sure of finding it. I wonder," she added, half to herself, "why he wants Miss Halcombe to help." "Girls," said Billie suddenly. They turned to her and found her regarding them with merry eyes and an air of excitement. "Ben Halcombe is a sailor. Wouldn't it be great if this fortune he hopes to find should turn out to be—" "What?" the others chorused as Billie paused for effect. "A buried treasure." End of chapter 6.